Alright, I'm going to talk to you today about when you use a z-test as opposed to a t-test. So, in statistics we have a z-test and a t-test. Both of these follow the central limit theorem, but we apply them in different situations. The z-test, for example, is going to be for situations when we know population standard deviation, while t-test is going to be used for more so when we know the sample's standard deviation. Now, both z and t have very similar shapes, but the z-test follows the normal distribution and it's always going to look the same, while a t-test, depending on the degrees of freedoms, can be much thicker in the middle, or it can be much wider. And the differences between these two different distributions has to do with the degrees of freedom, and that's why the t-test and z-test have to follow different distribution patterns. Just to recap, when we use the t-test versus the z-test, is we're going to use the z-test with samples. If we don't know the population distribution, we're going to use the t-test especially if we have a small data set, if we only have 20 people and we don't know the population standard. We'll also use the z-test though if we have a very large population, if we have over 1,000 people being surveyed. We can actually assume that that standard deviation is typical to the population. So that is the major difference between the z-test and the t-test.